Alright, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine is a six-issue miniseries which was written by Chris Claremont and drawn by Al Milgram, I believe his name was. Um, this was a miniseries that is mostly meant to capitalize on the success of the Miller Claremont miniseries from 1982. And I had always known about this, but I just never really got around to reading it. And in the last few months, I had gone to my comic shop and just felt like looking forward on a whim. And I found all six issues, and after reading it, I'm not really that impressed by it. I have a much vaunted love for Chris Claremont's Wolverine miniseries, and I love a lot of the run that he did for the Uncanny X-Men from the 70s to 91. Reading this series, this is kind of a halfway exploration for Kitty Pryde, and just really examining more of her relationship with her father, as opposed to being an examination of her character and her coming into her own. Basically, what happens is that in the main X-Men series, Kitty joined the X-Men because her parents were going through a divorce, and it was kind of a tough time on her. She had a very strained relationship with her father, and come to find out that her father has gotten mixed up with the Yakuza. And they've taken him, and there's this guy who's named Ogun, who works as an enforcer for the Yakuza, who kidnaps Kitty Pryde and brainwashes her as a way to get to Wolverine, because both of them have a history with each other. This is the story that brings in the Shadowcat persona for Kitty Pryde. It is a story that I have seen acted out, not entirely adapted, but I've seen it borrowed in certain things. They did this in Wolverine and the X-Men, and there's a little bit of this story in the Wolverine movie, but they just kind of took Shinjin Yoshida and made him Ogun a little bit more in that movie. This is a good story, but it's not the best Wolverine story that you can find from the quote-unquote classic years. The Claremont Miller Wolverine story to me is the best, and this is about as good as Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X. I think the only thing that I can say about this Wolverine story as far as anything else goes is I kind of just come off of reading a bunch of Wolverine stories, to kind of get myself hyped up for the movie when it came out on Blu-ray. The only refreshing thing about the story that I can say is that there's no sign of Wolverine going and killing any fucking bears in the story. It's not something that's spoken, but apparently for whatever reason, Claremont, Barry Windsor Smith, and even recently with the Origins issue that came out at Marvel, apparently Wolverine has a thing for stabbing bears, and we don't know why. I just think that's crazy. But the story itself is good. Actually, when I sit there and think about that now, this is good, almost as good as Weapon X, but not that good. The villain in this story is not even really that impressive when we sit there and examine Ogun. Basically, he's another mutant that used to train Wolverine in the past, which is apparently where he gets all of his samurai knowledge from. And his mutant power is really nothing significant. Basically, when it comes down to it, he's just Wolverine's version of the Shadow King. Nothing special about the guy. The art in this is pretty good. I've seen Al Milgram's art in a lot of the 1980s comics for Uncanny, so his art is still pretty good with this. There's a lot more that I could say about it too, but really the best thing about this is just Kitty going and being able to reconnect with her father in the course of the story. That's it. Um, as far as recommending the story goes, if you're a hardcore Wolverine fan or a hardcore X-Men fan, you'll definitely want to check this out. But this is not something that I would say that it's like the Claremont Miller Wolverine where you just need to run out and buy it and read it as fast as you can just to know the story. Um, it's a heavily flawed story. And when I kind of sit there and think about it now, the more that I sit there and think about it, the story is just kind of eh. Um, much as it vexes me to say, I think the Storm Ileana miniseries was actually better than this. Um, this is just a very meh story. This should have been 4 issues, not the 6 that it was dragged out to be. Um, if you're a Kitty Pryde fan, get it, but if anything else, it's skippable. That's really all I have to say.